Okay, to welcome everybody out. And last week we talked about are we going the way of Argentina and 10 things to plant in May. So anybody have anything they would like to discuss about last week? Updates or anything? All right, we'll get started in the market rundown. Today was a pretty crazy day, like all of them are these days, it seems like. The markets were mixed today. A lot of earnings came out. So early in the day, it was kind of crazy, and then it settled down, I guess, during the end of the day. I wasn't able to pay much attention to it, but I think the NASDAQ was the only major index that was actually down. The others were up slightly. Gold was up a couple of bucks at 23.16. Goldbacks were up a little bit, like $4 or 4 cents from last week at 4.59 today. They were 4.55 last week. Silver was up a couple of pennies at 27.23, and the gold silver ratio was down just a little bit to 1 to 85. The long-term bonds, the tilts and zeros, were up a little bit today. Wheat finally broke $6 yesterday and was as high as 6.11 today and closed at 6.06. So I was kind of relieved on that. It's been a while, been a long wait. DBA is the agricultural ETF with a mixed bag in it. It was up a little bit today, probably due to the wheat component, and DBC, which is more general commodities with a lot of energy in it, was down a little bit at 23.35. And the industrial military industrial complex, they were all up. All the biggies were up except for the ETF XAR, which is kind of strange. It would have been a good time to acquire some XAR today while it was down. Natural gas was up pretty significantly from last week. It was in the 14s last week, so 16, 17 today. And the futures for the gas was at 222. And of course, the cost of production is getting close to it, 230. I think Southwestern was the only one of these three that was actually up today. U.S. oil was down a little bit, 75.50. So that's just every day. It's a circus there, or a struggle, depending on whether supply. Apparently, supply is up a little bit in the U.S. Whether we're going to have more supply because of a recession, or there's going to be a shortage due to something happening in the Middle East or someplace else. Bitcoin was down at the end of the day, around 62,000. Looks like it might go back and test 50,000 again. Like kind of rolling over right now, it looks like. We talked about Jamie Dimon warning that interest rates could rise to 8%. It may not be because the Fed raising rates. It may just be because nobody wants to buy our bonds without paying a premium for them. A couple of bond sales that wasn't like nobody showed up, but they weren't buying as much as the Treasury would have liked them to have bought. I'm kind of going to stay away from tilt and zeros because of that. So back to the war news. Still got a war on natural gas, so a war on the middle class, war on cash. I got 2 emails today from different sources that predicted that after the election this year that cash would be outlawed. The other side of that is that FedNow is now. It's open for accounts for individuals and anybody that wants to transact money between two FedNow account holders. Basically, the speed of sound. So anyway, I shall not be partaking of that, but it is available now. The technology's here. You think about it, that's almost like a cryptocurrency or at least a tokenized dollar. It would be tracked and everything would be public, at least to the feds. So also in 7 days we have a BRICS meeting, and it's going to be in Russia, and China will attend, regardless of the fact that we sent Janet Yellen and Tony Blinken over there to try to convince them not to go. China's going. So things could move very quickly at this point as far as the dollar. I would be leery about holding a lot of dollars. That takes me back to, we got a little pullback here on gold backs and gold and silver at this point. So if you got any dry powder, I would consider taking advantage of this current pullback. Still got a war on food pretty much around the world, especially on beef and milk products and meat in general. War on gardens. We talked about this last week, but about get your chipped beef. There's a government program. It's not a law, but it has the authority of law that will require every beef that's not going to headed for slaughter to be chipped, so be able to be tracked where it's at, and what that means, who knows, but be able to know where every cow is in the country in case they wanted to vaccinate them or something. If anybody has some comments about some of that stuff, we'll move on to seasonal information. Still got time to plant some trees as long as we keep getting rain. Pretty much should be through with our spring pruning. Hopefully we're in planting that garden mode. Put out those potato slips and probably talk about that a little bit. You got bees, check them. If you don't, it's a good time to put out swarm traps. Seems to be an early swarm season. It's time. We've already had the black locust the honey flow or nectar flow from black locust. It's done. So the next big flow here will be the tulip poplar, which should be starting in the next week or so. You catch a lot of honey that time if you got bees built up strong enough. So can still, I'd recommend if you got your seeds for this year, I'd recommend go ahead and order what you think you might use next year, if you can still get them. Hopefully everybody's got their potassium iodine. So any progress anybody would like to talk to?
Well, I actually made some, so planted some potatoes and some bush beans and one row of radishes, although I think it's probably supposed to be too late for that, isn't it? But
No, it's not too late. You can,
okay.
you can stagger those and just keep going until it gets really hot.
Okay. And then I planted some corn today, which I'm not sure if, I don't know. I've never had my own corn harvest, so I guess we'll see if I timed it right. But anyway, and I place in my lower property that I've been clearing. It's been an area of deadfall and outside of winter, an area I didn't dare set foot in. It's turning out to be a semi-flat spot that might give me another I don't know, 400 square feet of potential garden. I'm thinking of planting some melons and stuff down there that take up a lot of space. So anyway, I actually made some progress. So
It's good to have separate spots, like if you need to separate something for pollination purposes or things like that.
Mm.
Have like two different kinds of corn, one uphill and one downhill.
Okay.
Of course, you can time them like if are you planting sweet corn or?
I have some seeds that have been in those emergency seed bank. They're what was it? Yellow dent corn, I think is called.
Okay. So that would be a field corn or a meal corn.
Yeah, basically I've been following Cheryl's motto this year of sometimes done is better than perfect. And traditionally I've just been so late that everything's get very little. The sun just kills it, scorches it. So I've been trying to move fast and try to not be too late this year. So
Well, the original people that settled this area, they went in and they cut the trees. They dig around the stumps and they'd try to cut them below the surface, with a crosscut saw, and which you can imagine just how arduous that would have been.
yeah.
And then they if they couldn't get them low enough, they just plow around them and make a row around it, and
Uh-huh.
keep on trucking.
Right.
Eventually, after 10 or 15 years, those stumps would rot out generally, and they could
Right.
plow right through them. But yeah, new ground was used quite extensively, and it was usually made a pretty good crop, first few years without
Yeah.
any amendments.
Okay. Well, in regards to dent corn, given I just planted it today, uh, I went through the seed packets I had. That was the corn I had, so I opened it, and so now I guess I got to figure out, do I really want it, or should I go replace them with a different seed? I don't know, but
Well, the other thing you could do is you can plant sweet corn. That dent corn's probably about 120 days to
yeah,
maturity. You
yeah,
can
115.
you can plant sweet corn, at the same time and in proximity, and it'll most sweet corns are under 100 days, and so they'll be up and out of there before the sweet or the dent corn pollinates.
Okay.
So even planting them at the same time, you can get away with it, and
Well,
still,
now I'm just wondering,
still
like, do I even want the dent corn?
yeah. Well, it's good. Coming from the south, I think cornmeal's the only way to go.
Ah, I do like cornmeal.
Yeah,
So,
and it's so much easier. I'm not sure how much I'm going to have, but I planted wheat and clover in a little patch I've got down by the creek. And if anybody wants to find out how much work it takes to harvest and thresh and grind a cup of wheat,
hmm,
they're welcome to it. I'll let them do it on the halves, so I'll have enough seed to plant next fall, hopefully. But anyway, but the other side of that is corn is much more amenable to hand labor and you know, doing with very little tools and equipment. You know, you can shell it by hand. You can grind it with a very cheap mill compared to wheat. And, it's quite productive, or can be. Not as productive as sweet potatoes, but it is quite productive. So I'm going to kind of introduce every week Winston's forage walk if I have a chance today. I did over the last 2 days. I have a chance to get out of the roadway a little bit.
Brother Apple, before you start that, I got one item.
Cool.
That's all right. It doesn't make sense to transport our food storage.
Mm-hmm.
We have like 1,500 pounds of oats and rice and wheat. So I don't know what's the best way to like get that in the right hands. If anybody wants it, it's perfectly good. It just doesn't make sense for us to put it on a shipping pod.
Okay.
If y'all know anybody that could use that, let me know.
Okay. Might consider posting it on Circles too, if you dare.
Yep, I'll do that.
If nothing else, I can always use it for animal feed, but I'd rather somebody else get it for people food. Anyway, okay, so this particular mushroom, you know, we could spend a year just on mushrooms that grow wild here, but anybody have a clue of what this mushroom might be?
Elf seer or something like that.
Yep, you got it, Mike. And this one's kind of unusual, at least to me. I saw it when it's on a stump of a honey locust that died. And I saw it when I cut the tree down, and then I saw it just yesterday when I was making a circle back through there, checking the tree that I replaced it with. And it came out really, really nicely. And then I don't usually see them. It's growing out of this root here of the stump. And you don't usually see it growing like that, or I haven't. You usually see it growing on a limb that's broken off and fallen on the ground. And so here's a perfect example in its prime. That other one was getting a little past its prime, but this one was just perfect to eat. And this limb is an ailanthus limb that's propped up off the ground for some reason, like 3 foot. You know, usually it needs to get down to the ground to get enough moisture to go, but this one did it up in the air and made a real nice specimen. That one really does look like an ear. It's a pretty easy mushroom to identify. And, no poisonous lookalikes. There's a lot of woody mushrooms that grow like this, but this one's soft and gelatinous.
And briefly, how would you normally use it?
I used to
Soups
back when I ate eggs, I would slice it up and put it in scrambled eggs. And after you get some bacon grease in the pan, of course. But anyway, not able to do that anymore. But I put some in a can of beans last night. That was pretty good. I mean, it's basically like a lot of mushrooms. It doesn't have a lot of flavor of its own, and it's kind of firm, but you know, kind of the texture of Jello.
Okay, so not something that you would normally just pop in your mouth on the trail.
Yeah, I mean, I have just to verify it was what I thought it was, but yeah. And I think it would be safe, although in general they recommend that wild mushrooms should always be cooked. Of course, then we put, the same mushroom basically in salad bars all over the place and eat it raw, which I'm not sure is a good idea, but for the same reasons. But anyway, it's an easy one to identify, and it's usually fairly plentiful around here, especially when it's wet and damp. Here's another little thing that some of you probably can identify. Kind of a little late in the stage for eating, but the upper leaves probably still good. It's peppery.
I think you told me this last time. Is this one like wild mustard?
I wouldn't call it that, but it tastes like mustard. It's a cress. I'm not sure whether it's land crest or field crest, but one of the crest. It doesn't matter for foraging and eating. They look similar. Early they just have these rounded leaves, down close to the ground. That's what you'll see first. This one's bolted and blooming now, but it's still certainly edible. It's usually plentiful around Virginia. You see a lot along the roadsides. Sometimes just patches of blaze yellow along the road on 29. And then our most common and famous southern green is,
I'm guessing pokeweed.
yeah, that's poke salad.
Never had it.
Anyway, it's again kind of easy to fix. There's lots of it. You want these young tender leaves up here because it's getting up. This one is like 3 foot tall already. You can eat it when it just clears the ground, and it's kind of like asparagus at that point. But the trick and the rule is boil it 3 times, throw out the water, and then after the third water is poured out, melt a pat or 2 of butter in there, or bacon grease or something like that, and salt and pepper, and it's ready to go. It's pretty palatable in my opinion. Like I said, there's lots of it around. It's something that my dad always said, yeah, grows next to the dog pen. It's where it grows best. Gets watered there.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're out of the wild things.
Oh, well, I was going to say one of my favorites I've been seeing, and that's Virginia pepperweed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but
you turned me on to that last year, and I've got a lot of it in the fields now that I know what it is.
I've been munching on it. And today when I pulled a piece, it actually pulled the root up, and I've never tried the root. It was fibrous, but it tasted a whole lot like a radish, a nice strong radish.
Yeah.
So I liked the root as well.
Yeah, a radish is a cruciferous vegetable, and I suspect this pepperweed is too. So anyway, and have you tried the flowers?
I have, yeah. I like pretty much all of it. Wikipedia says it's a mustard family what is it, the brassica or?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. So
I would think the flowers would be real good to dry and grind up as a pepper substitute.
yeah. They are the ones that they sort of like have little seeds in their flower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I've thought of as well.
Because chewed some of them the other day and.
Yep.
But yeah, this would be pretty good, I think.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I like plucking those when I see them.
Well, anyway, we were talking about sweet potatoes the other day and different ways to handle them, and I had a large pot, and I put three potatoes in it, and this was the largest of the potatoes. So I just reached in with my hands and a trowel and pulled out this biggest potato and started pulling the slips off of it and planting. And for my garden bed, I need 36 slips, and I actually got 33 slips off of this one potato. So gives you an idea of how productive they can be, and how many potatoes you might need next year to start your slips. Like I said, I got 33 out of one potato. So I have some more available if anybody's interested. So when I planted in the rain yesterday evening, and so this was my 36 slips in my bed, two rows and approximately 16 inches apart. And if you'll notice down here on the bottom end, doesn't show the center block, but it's right there. But so this last one, I turned it going back the way I came from, and all these others are coming down towards me here. And so these last two kind of overlap here. The one that's planted in that hole is going down to here. And when it's planted, this hole's going up to there. So, kind of the way I do them to get everything in the beds and have room for them to grow. And then look up here, so I started the first one 8 inches in and coming downhill towards us. Hopefully they will all survive, or I will replace any of them if I need. I'll keep a few in that pot until whether I need them or not. So anyway, that's how I plant my sweet potatoes. Mike, that guy that you want to talk about that, Mike, or not? But
well, I'd like your opinion. I came across, so this will be the first year I guess I planted some slips last year, but they died. I didn't know what I was doing. So this year I'm hoping to do a lot better. But I came across a guy who on YouTube, and he was taking each one of these starter vines or whatever and showing at each node, he clipped like each vine into like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, multiplied a lot anyway.
yeah, he would cut it like right there, and probably right there and right there, and
Yeah.
he was able to. I mean, if I was planting out 500, I might consider that useful, but
Yeah. Okay.
because I could have probably turned these 33 into well over 100, I'm sure.
Right.
Without any trouble, maybe 200. And, but sometimes I have trouble getting them to live with a good root system on them.
Okay.
But I don't really agree with him. Not if you did that and then started them in water, for a week or so to develop roots, I would feel more comfortable with what he's doing. But like the way I do it here, I've got a pretty good root system on all these.
Right.
Doesn't always come off equally, but That's just my opinion. But anyway, I've got a video tonight that I'd like to us to listen to and think about it on this video. Be thinking about what's going to happen 6 months from now today, and how you think people will react to however it turns out.
So hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Appalachia's Homestead. Pater with you this afternoon. Let's hope that the rain holds and we get this recorded. Hopefully the wind won't be too bad as well. Hope you're doing well on this Monday. Today is May the 6th. We've got something important to talk about, and I want you to think about this. I'm sure a lot of you already are. Guys, 6 months from today, 6 months from today will be November the 6th. What do you think this country is going to look like or be 6 months from today? The reason I am mentioning this is because, number one, I think it's very important that we talk about things in a time frame fashion. I think that helps people forecast situations, set goals, maybe get motivated, etc., etc. 6 months from today, the selection, potato, whatever you want to call it in your way, will have already supposedly taken place. Now, some of you are going to say to me, I don't think we're going to have one. Okay, well, let me change it up for you, baby. Let me spice it up. Okay, if that's the case, which I don't necessarily disagree. I mean, hello. Let me ask the question again. What's everybody going to be looking like 6 months from today? Let's say the election doesn't happen for whatever reason you want to come up with. We could really throw some doozies out there, and don't think that they're not a possibility, because anything's possible now. We've seen things over the last 4 years I thought I'd never see in my lifetime, and I know that you agree too. So whether we have one or not, what do you think things are going to look like 6 months from today? The reason I bring that up is because what I mentioned earlier, but also because I'm having a lot of folks comment on the channel, say to me, say to you, what do I need to do? They're waking up, y'all. Give me a fist bump if you just woke up. Okay? Look here. I wore this shirt just for you. I woke up like this today. This is how the rest of us wake up every day, because we're awake. We're not woke, but we are awake. So we woke up with our hair on fire every single day. This is one of my favorite shirts. My son bought this for me, gosh, 4 or 5 years ago. He got it. My son had to go to Rural King for something. He said, Mama, I saw that shirt and I just wanted you to have it. I had to get that for you. So I only wear it on special occasions because I love it. But it's appropriate for today. Yeah, we're always running Mach 10 with our hair on fire. But here's the deal. What do you need to be doing? It's very, very simple, stupid. And I like to keep things simple, stupid, because I don't want to over-circuit people when they're just now coming into the realization of, oh crap, wow, things aren't what I thought they were. Things are not what they're saying. My brother and my dad both lost their job last week. Can I trust my money in the bank? Do I have enough money to make it for 3, 6, 12 months if something were to happen to me? If a crisis happened, do I even have a pack of Band-Aids and, beans? Well, do you? I'd say at this point, regardless of whether or not we have something go down within 6 months, I would be preparing as best I can. Because again, like I've said on videos very recently, and I'm going to continue to say it, guys, we're pushing halfway into 2024. And I personally think 2025 is going to be nothing but a big old barrel of monkeys. Okay? So if we skirt through this, if we kind of skirt through the summer and make it to the fall, we're already seeing a lot of shenanigans. Even if they're distractions, you need to be preparing. What do you need to be doing? Well, first things first, you need to make sure you have water and food. Okay? Start there. Water and food. You need to sit down tonight, right now. That's an order. You need to sit down and you need to look at your budget. And you need to, and if you say, Patera, things are so tight, I can't prepare. Oh no, hold on. We got to find it. We got to find you some funds. We got to find you ways in order for you to do the best that you can. It's a little bit windy, guys. Storm's moving in. You've got to find a way to try to put things on the shelf. Now, there are all kinds of people that give advice on this subject, and a lot of very skilled folks that have really, really good ideas. Go through my videos, go through whoever's videos you need to, and build on that. But the bottom line is, do you have a safe place? And in that safe place, do you have water and food? Can you manage for a time period if you couldn't go to the store? I mean, I know it's like 2020 all over again. If you can't really go to the store or things are not on the shelf, what are the basic things? You've already been through a test run, okay? You have already been through a test run. Joggle your brain, because they've totally messed with all of us. Go back 4 years ago right now and think about what were you having to do. What were the things that you wished you had already in place? Your basic waters, drinks, food items that were, non-perishable, that you could do all kinds of different recipes with. Okay? Doesn't have to be fancy. I'm not trying to get fancy. This is about survival. Think about also first aid items. Basic medicinal items, herbal items, basic things, your teas, your basic medications, first aid. I would definitely be having some first aid, basic, gauze, cleaning solutions, tourniquet, your basic items. Do you have these things? Do you have basic things for your body? Soap, shampoo, women items, woman items. Real women need items. Guys, you don't. Stop. I'm leaving it there. Think about all those basic body needs that you use on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Have some on the shelf. Guys, you better find a way real quick to defend yourself. Now, some people that are watching these videos can't defend themselves the way that we defend ourselves here. You may be in a different country and you have different laws. Well, you better be, I know this is not pertaining to you in terms of our selection situation, but it could get more chaotic around the world regardless, because things are going sideways anyway. But how are you going to defend yourself, your family, and those items, your food, your water, and your medications? You better be thinking about that. Do you have tools in order to help you with that? And do you have your freedom seeds? That's right. I said it just like that. Your freedom seeds. So, do you have a place to be? Safe place to be? A house, apartment? Can you make rent? So with that on the side, Do you have a little nest egg to help you make rent for a bit? Everybody's rent's going up, I know. Here's the thing. This is a lot to do with a 6-month time period, but we have to list it because we're talking about something that I'm painting with a broad brush because I don't know everybody's situation. I'm just trying to give you a checklist. I have multiple videos. James and I have multiple videos even together talking about checklists, but I'm going over the basics because that's what you've asked for. There are people that have woke up and they're like, what do I do? What do I do? Water. Rotate it. Food items. If you can just get 5 cans a week, get the 5 cans a week. Things that you can eat out of the can, things that you can put together to make soups. Soup is going to be your life, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. What about basic items that last on the shelf, such as flour, such as salt, such as baking powder, baking soda, cornmeal? I'm going to mention that because you got to have your cornbread. Do you have a basic item such as a basic skillet, cast iron skillet maybe, in case you have to take things outside somewhere to cook? You can't go wrong with that. What about your basic items as far as your clothing? Do you have a reliable pair of shoes, couple pair of pants, a good coat or jacket? Where are you on all of these things? You have to sit down and do your budget and know where you're at. Then you need to go through and make an inventory list of all the things that you have versus what you don't. You have to think about, what did you do in 2020? What did you learn from that experience? What do you wish you had on hand already? Or what would you have changed? We have no way of predicting or knowing exactly what is going to happen, but this is where we start. I would be looking at, in terms of my canned items, I've mentioned this many times before, tons of videos on it. I would have a mix of things. I would have canned meats. Even if you only get a couple, one per week, canned chicken, some canned tuna, whatever, canned beef. There's all kinds of options if you just go and just go look in the meat department. In terms of the canned goods, there's all kinds of options. A can of chili. Maybe it has beef and beans in it. I would be getting beans. I would be getting dried beans. I would also be getting canned beans. I do all of it. Some people don't like to do all the things. I think you should do all the things. Let me give you an example. Right now, I spoke to somebody that I'm very close to that lives in Texas. They're basically underwater. When does that happen? Because they make it happen, right? He said, my garden is at least halfway shot now. It's just done. I'm either not, it's going to rot, or my potatoes are gone. Canned potatoes. Here's what I'm saying. The reason you have backup items on the shelf is because of emergencies and crisis situations. This is why your great-great-grandparents had something going all year round if they could, because you were never guaranteed. I could go out here and plant 5 acres right now if I wanted to. I'm not guaranteed squat out of that. So what would be important for me or my family? To make sure we have items on the shelf. If you've gotten bumper crops, I hope that you've put it away. You get it in the freezer, and maybe then in the jars, or maybe in your freeze dryer or your dehydrator, whatever. But also, go get you some canned goods. They're not as cheap as they were 2 years ago. We all know that, but it's cheaper than starvation. Don't be in that boat. Start with 5 to 10, guys, if you did 5 to 10 cans a week and mix it up for your fruits, pineapple, your mandarin oranges, maybe you get a jar of peanut butter and jelly, because you're going to be buying flour to make your bread, right? Because I've taught you to make bread. We've taught you to make bread and biscuits and cornbread all up and down the block. So if you have the basic items, you will be able to put a lot of meals together. That's where you need to start. Water, food, canned foods, different types of longer stored foods, okay? I'm not even talking about the items that last 10, 20, 25, 30 years. No. I'm talking about stuff that you can go to the store and get that may last you 6, 12, 24 plus months, okay? That's where I want you to start. Sweet potatoes, spinach, rice, pasta, basic marinara. Get whatever you like, get whatever you prefer, get what you can afford. You also need to make sure that you can defend yourself, like I said. Got to make sure that you can do that. Got to make sure that you're warm. Do you need to get an extra blanket? May not be a bad deal. Batteries, flashlight, just one of this, one of that every week. Weekly, you're making it a huge point to make sure that I've got my list, I've got my budget, and you're checking things off. Some things you'll only have to buy one time. Some things you'll have to continue to do, on a weekly and monthly basis. But guys, the clock's ticking. It very well likely could be ticking. And here's the thing. Let's say we coast through the summer, we get into the fall, we have an election, it's kind of crazy, but nothing major happens. 2025 is about to roll around. And if you're paying attention to all the things that are being discussed in terms of the economy, the dollar, digital currency, war, you're going to do these things anyway. I hope this video helped you out. Oh, by the way, don't forget your pets. If you got cats and dogs and sweet critters, you gotta be doing what you gotta do for them too. Do you think you have 6 months? I can't answer the question, but I will ask you, and I'm interested in seeing what you have to say below in the comment section. Please make suggestions. I know that I have a ton of videos and I try to keep.
We're in a huge hole. Horrific. All this is going to cost.
Already been through a test run.
Okay. Not sure why that stopped so abruptly, but so what? Okay, so what's your thoughts about what Patera has to say there?
Just anxiety.
It just kind of slipped up on me that we were six months from the election. It's not very long if you still got a lot of things to do.
Yep.
The thing that I hadn't thought that much of was what if we don't have an election? Where does that put us? I mean, I feel there's three ways this thing could go. We could not have an election. We could think there might be a 33% chance of that. Guess what? In Ukraine, Zelensky's term ended yesterday. There wasn't an election. There wasn't even any campaigns, as far as I know.
But he's still president?
Yeah. Nobody even thinks twice about it, at least not here.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons you could not have an election. And then if you do have an election, there's probably a 33% chance that the incumbent will win, which means there's a 33% chance that Trump might win. But then there's probably a fairly substantial with another candidate in there, or two or three, probably a substantial possibility that neither one of those might get 270 electoral votes. Then what happens? I mean, I just see 50% or so of the population being disenchanted with either one, any three of those results. what would happen? I don't know, but I think we need to be prepared for whatever life might throw at us. I think we're most of us are in pretty good shape in that we're not in the middle of a flashpoint city. We have resources, and the thing I see that we need to build most is community. Be able to know who's got sweet potatoes and who's got sweet corn, and who's got a wheat grinder, and who's got chicken eggs, that sort of thing. Anything else before we shut down for the night?
No, nothing here.
Thanks for coming out, and
No, thank you.
Thank you.
we'll see you later.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Good night.
Night.